All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for viewing my video today. This is a video of the presentation I made for the Parent University on October 24th. This will last about 30 minutes, and it's an overview of the WHO program, which I use on the Celina Primary Campus with kinder and pre-kinder. All right, so let me share my screen with you. You'll give me just a moment. All right, so let's get started. And this is being recorded so that you can watch at your leisure, and you can also hopefully share with other parents who missed even hearing about the Parent University. We hope that to be an annual thing. So WHO, first of all, stands for We Help Ourselves. It's a program empowering children to learn rules and ways that they can help themselves if they find themselves in a dangerous or uncomfortable situation. So, by the way, I'm your presenter, Jeanne Juneau. I am the counselor at Celina Primary. I'm sure most of you that will be watching this have already met me. If you haven't, I work in the classes quite a bit at this age level. So all of the things that I'm telling you this evening or today, whenever you're watching this, are things that I have or will be doing in classes this year with the whole class. So what is WHO? We Help Ourselves. So WHO was a program developed by the Greater Dallas Mental Health Association. And this program has been around for quite some time. I've been in this business for over 40 years, and I have used the WHO program for the last 20 years. And this is a program that goes from pre-K through 12th grade, actually. But I use the pre-K kinder program. That's my favorite. That's the one that has captured my heart for over the last 20 years because it's very simplistic and it's very much on kindergarten level. It's very much on a child's level and through a child's eyes, a child's point of view. Why? Because it used puppets for one. And the WHO puppets, I've had them for years. The only way you can get the WHO puppets is through going through the training, which is a 3-day training, by the way. And the WHO puppets are quite expensive, but I'm fortunate that the district saw fit to buy a set for and send me to the training on our campus. And they're copyrighted puppets. So let me show you the first one. This is Miss Heidi. This is our first puppet. So you can only get these puppets if you complete their training program and purchase their program. You can't order this one on Amazon. So it was really hard for me to find good images other than when you look in the slideshow. I'm not a professional photographer. So as I said, this is an anti-victimization program that teaches children strategies for staying safe at home, at school, and in the community. So here are all the rest of the puppets. This is the sort of like the MC hostess of the show. They do a little game show at the end. She's the one sort of in charge of it all. And, you know, we think of Isles as being really smart and intelligent. And so she's very smart. So the first thing the kids notice when I introduce her to them is that she's white. And we don't have white owls around here because she's a snow owl. And she has white fur to protect her in the snow because when her enemies try to find her, they can't see her. She's camouflaged. So she's so lucky she has this white fur to keep her camouflaged and safe. But we don't have camouflage. But Miss Heidi's got some really good rules to help us keep safe and protect ourselves. All right, so Miss Heidi sort of visits on and off throughout the whole time I'm teaching this program. Our next little friend, you see, she looks kind of scared because she used to be called a scaredy cat, but she's not scared anymore because she knows the rules. Her name is Miss Kitty. So the kids meet Miss Kitty when we talk about strangers. And then I have them all at my feet right here. Larry Lion. Larry Lion teaches us about hurts and the different kinds of hurts. You know, we can have physical hurts and emotional hurts. But Larry Lion thinks he doesn't need to tell anyone because it wouldn't be lionly to tell anyone. And he's no coward. He's king of the jungle. Let's see if you can see his eyes here. He is king of the jungle. And then we have Kimberly Koala. Kimberly Koala, from all the way from Australia, is kind of a know-it-all. She's kind of a show-off, but she too can always learn ways to stay safe and protect herself. And she talks about secrets and surprises. And we have two more. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, two more. Billy Brown Bear. Billy Brown Bear is just a cute, cuddly little brown bear. And he will be talking about touches, which is what we say instead of sexual abuse. But that's really, he's kind of on the surface level of beginning to introduce the idea that not all touches feel good or bad, that some of them are just uncomfortable and we don't like them. And the kids learn that it's okay to say, no, I don't like that. And even to say no to a hug, but we'll talk about that more in just a minute. So Billy Brown Bear. And then we have a new addition to the program, and it's actually not a copyrighted puppet. It's just one on folk monas, but they developed a curriculum for him. Scooter Skunk, just the cutest little skunk puppet ever. Scooter is a skunk and he stinks. And the kids used to call him Stinky, but he can't help it. That's just the way he is because he's a skunk and that's the way he's made. And it hurts his feelings when people call him names and tease him. And so his little curriculum is on bullying and teasing. And he's everybody's favorite. Okay, he's my favorite. All right, this is Scooter Skunk. So moving right along. Let me catch up in my notes here. I don't want to forget to say anything. The program itself, the WHO program, is based on 3 principles. So for each one of those sections that you heard about, we learn the rule, we learn what to do, and we learn who to tell. So it's know, do, tell. Recognize potentially dangerous situations. Learn and practice personal safety rules to help avoid risk. So do have a plan of action. Think ahead of what to do in a scary, dangerous, or uncomfortable situation. When someone is bothering you, do you need to get away? Go tell the teacher. We talk about what you can do. What's your first step? I always say first step is no. If someone's doing something you don't like, your first words, no, stop it. I don't like it. And then tell, know who to tell. Who are your adults? And then when we talk about what an adult is, okay, don't go tell your best friend. Go tell an adult that you trust. And we name all the adults we trust in the school, all the adults we trust at home and in our community. So it's important to tell someone about situations that are uncomfortable or hurting. So when I read, when I teach this lesson, one of the books I read is Most People. And this is a book I'm actually reading right now to classes. When we teach this program, we want kids to learn to be cautious, but we don't want them to be scared and afraid and, not want to come out of their house. Because yes, there are some people that, do bad things, say bad things, think bad things, break things, destroy things. But guess what? Most people in this world are good people. Most people want to help. Most people want to do nice things for others. But unfortunately, we don't wear name tags. Good person, bad person, right? So I tell their kids, there are a few people that are not nice people, and we can't tell who they are. So the story shows a picture of people lined up from here to the tallest mountain in the world. Because if we lined up all the good people from here to the tallest mountain in the world, that's how long it would be. Now, if we lined up all the bad people, there's a picture in the book that shows all the bad people in one little tiny gloomy dark room. All right. So I ask them, are there more good people or bad people? More good people, Miss Jeannie. So of course, but remember, we can't look at someone on the outside and tell what they're like on the inside. Are they thinking of doing good? We don't know by just looking at someone. And so we have to have rules. So there's that line from the book. It's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite. Now, and again, this does not come with the WHO program. The WHO program does not have books that come along with the curriculum, but I always like a good book to reinforce an idea. And so that's one of my favorite ones when we talk about strangers. What is a stranger? A stranger is anyone you don't know. Who can give you candy and gifts? Can you take candy and gifts from a stranger? Who can give you a ride? Can you get in the car with someone you don't know? And so I show them 2 pictures. This week I just tore 2 pictures out of a magazine. All right. It just happened to be 2 ladies, and they looked like they were nice. So, oh, who is this one? I don't know. Does anyone know her name? No. Who's this one? Does anyone know her name? No. So they realized, nobody knows who those are. We don't know them, Miss Jeannie. I said, you know what? I know who they are. They're strangers. So a stranger is anyone you don't know. And we don't know these ladies, so they're strangers. And they look nice, but if they came up to you and said, you look cold, let me go ahead and take you home in my new car. And they look so pretty and nice and they speak nicely. Would you do it? And they'll go, no, because they're a stranger. So we introduce, who we trust, who we don't, and it happens to be that this is Red Ribbon Week and we have Halloween next week, and we talk about, but you go knock on people's doors you don't know and you take candy from them, but your parents are with you. So, this is always the key difference, a grown-up, an adult, your parents are with you. That's what makes the difference. So one of the stories I like when we talk about what if you can't find an adult to help you that you know and trust. You might have to go up to a stranger. This is like the one time, and I add this little caveat to the curriculum when we talk about being lost, because it's going to happen. When you take your child to a crowded store, a crowded event, or, a little dance or concert, a festival, they might get separated from you. And what do they need to do? Who are the safe adults that can help them? Because they're going to need help from an adult. So we read the story, Lila got lost, and it's a cute little story with a happy ending. And she suddenly is in a crowded mall and she can't find her mom. She doesn't run out the store because that would not be safe, we say. And she doesn't run back to her car. That would surely not be safe because she's running across the parking lot. The door of the car is probably locked. We go through all these scenarios. She doesn't run out in the mall. She doesn't go hide because she might be in trouble, because she's not in trouble. She's lost. And she goes up to a woman with a small child, asks her for help. And the woman asks about her phone number. Does she know her phone number? Now, don't start feeling guilty, because the majority of the kids at this age, when I ask them, they don't know their phone number. Hey, I have a hard time remembering my phone number sometimes. So I always say, get mommy or daddy or grandma, whoever is taking you to the event, to write their phone number on your forearm. Why? Because you're going to wash your hands and wash it off, but have them just write it with a marker right here. And if you get separated, that way you can tell that trusted adult what their number is so they can call. Well, since Lila didn't know either, the lady took her to one of the employees. We always talk about how can you tell that somebody works there, an employee. All right. So the story has a happy ending, and no, mom is not mad at her and she's not in trouble. She's so happy to be back with her daughter. So that is all of Miss Kimberly's spiel. It's kind of like 2 lessons. This is Kimberly Koala, and she talks about secrets and surprises. A secret is a promise to never tell. A surprise is something that if a person found out, they would be happy. So if someone says, if you tell, you will be in big trouble, is that always true? When you think about it, if someone is hurting you and says, you better not go tell the teacher because you're going to be in trouble, what do y'all think about that? I said, no, Miss Jeannie, they'll be in trouble. I said, yeah. So, some secrets are bad secrets, and some secrets we don't keep. We need to tell a trusted adult. If we're planning a surprise party for your teacher, we said that's a good secret, because she's going to find out and be so happy. But sometimes people do something to you that you don't like, and they say you can't tell anyone, and that might be a bad secret. So you need to tell someone you trust. And that's Kimberly Koala. And then we move on to the situation of hurts. And, our English language, hurt has a broad definition. It can refer to a lot of different things and a lot of different levels of severity. And if it could be a physical hurt or an emotional hurt. Excuse my walkie, I forgot it was on. I am in my office, if you can't tell. So you can see that if someone falls and scrapes their knee, it hurts. It's usually an accident. If someone hits you on purpose and leaves a bruise or cut on purpose, it hurts, and the hurt doesn't go away for a while. you need to get away from that person and tell an adult. So if someone's like really like punching you, you need to get away from that person. And then you need to go tell or get help. So we see Larry Lyon heading up this idea. And Larry, you know, I wouldn't be a king of the jungle if I went and asked for help, because I don't need help because I'm the big lion. So, of course, Larry learns that he does need to ask for help. Everybody needs help sometimes. All right. And Larry learned that, you know, you can not only be hurt on the outside where you see a bruise, but sometimes you get hurt right here. You know, we talk about our feelings. Sometimes our feelings can hurt, and that hurt can last a long time. So you can't put a Band-Aid on that kind of hurt. The nurse can't help you with that kind of hurt. Now, Miss Jeanne might be able to help you with that kind of hurt. So you see, we get in all kinds of little discussions and talks and things that we can think about when we think about hurt. It has a very broad definition. And finally, our last little puppet friend, and this is the one that's the most important, at least to me, because this is probably the only program that to me addresses this in a pretty generic way, in a simple way for this age level of children. So Billy Brown Bear talks about touches, and he's talking about things that could be sexual molestation, sexual abuse. All right, but we don't get real deep into this. We use the word touches. So Billy Brown Bear, first of all, he's kind of funny. He likes to sleep and snore a lot, you know, which kids go, Miss Jeanne, that was you. And I said, well, don't you snore? So he's a sleepy little bear that figures out that there are good touches, like hugs and a little kiss from your mom or dad, or sitting in your grandma's lap, or high-fiving your friend, or getting a pat on the back from your teacher. Every time those kind of touches happen, you feel good. Now, the opposite of good is bad. And when people hurt us, like punching or kicking or scratching or pinching, they might leave a bruise or a mark on your skin. Those are bad touches. Hurting touches are bad touches. And you need to tell someone, like your teacher or a trusted adult. But now we have the confusing touches. And those are the touches that don't make us feel good. So we read the story, My Body Belongs to Me. So these kind of touches, you know, first of all, this book is not part of the WHO program again, but one that I correlate with this part of the program. This book talks about how your body's very special, and you get to decide who and when touches you, by whom and when that person touches you. And you can say no if you don't want them to be touched. And the little girl one day, she just says, in the one page, she says, some days I just don't want to be touched. And she's, you know, this cute little girl in the book, and she's just sitting kind of pounding on a bench. And, you know, some days we have like days like that. We don't want anyone to touch us. And I tell the kids, some people come up to me and they say, Miss Jeanne, can I give you a hug? I say, sure. But could Miss Jeanne say no? Absolutely. We don't always have to let someone touch us if we don't want them to. So, well, let me go back just a little bit. We read through this book. And which is also available in the parent library, by the way, at school, if you would like to check this book out and just read it over, just for your own knowledge, or read it over again with your child for review, because this kind of stuff has to be reviewed. It talks all about, you know, like Clara likes to be tickled by her best friend. But when Uncle John tickles her, first of all, he tickles too hard and she doesn't like it. Well, guess what? She can say no. See, but it can be confusing, right? Because she liked to be tickled by a friend, but she doesn't like to be tickled by Uncle John. And she liked the little kiss Daddy gave her good night, but the big fat sloppy wet kiss that Grandma gave her, she didn't like. She liked this one. She didn't like this one. Same thing. Touches can be confusing. So who likes to go swimming? Every child raises their hand. What do you wear when you go swimming? A bathing suit. Why do we wear a bathing suit when we go swimming? We don't wear a bathing suit when we take a bath or take a shower. And everybody kind of giggles. That's because we're covering our private parts, right? These parts right here, we don't let everybody see those parts. You know, people can see our elbows, our shoulder, our head, our earlobes. They can't see these parts because they're private. And we keep those parts private, covered, even when we go swimming with our best friends. And then we go through the whole list. Who can touch our private parts? Who can't? Do we touch other people's private parts? What if someone wants to touch your private parts? What can you say? We practice through that whole thing. It's okay. The bottom line is it's okay to say no. You decide who touches you. And if someone touches you and if you say no and they still touch you and they're touching you in a way you don't like, that's when you need the help of an adult. Never be afraid to tell an adult. And they might say it's a secret. Don't tell anyone. And we know that secret didn't make us feel good. It's not happy like a surprise party. So we need to go tell an adult. That might not be a good secret. So you see, we just kind of touched the beginning level of this. And then, say, well, I don't know if that really brings it home. Well, this is something that has to be reviewed often. All right. But I want you to listen to the story that this young lady says of how long she put up with something she didn't like simply because she didn't know that she could say no and she could tell someone.
Hi, my name is Elenia, and I'm 22 years old, and I am a survivor of child abuse. Whenever I was in kindergarten, I was new to the school and getting to know everything, and one of my neighbors came over for a play date. Whenever we were inside my house, she had told me, "Don't worry, my brother does this all the time," and I had been touched in an inappropriate way. And she made it seem like it was normal. So I thought it was normal and I didn't know anything better. So I continued to be a victim for the next 9 years. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is that I want to introduce the WHO program. WHO stands for We Help Ourselves, and it is an anti-victimization program that goes over many different subjects, but the one that I want to discuss today is sexual abuse. So this is Billy Brown the bear, and he's really cuddly and sweet, and I like him a lot, and he represents touching. And once my friend asked me if I had known what touching was and what molestation was, would that have changed anything in my life? I really think it would have changed everything. I would have known to say no, and I would have been able to tell others, such as my neighbor, that it's okay to say no. And I really feel like if I had known Billy Brown Bear, and it would have helped me to have that knowledge even as a young child, and I wouldn't have to be surviving child abuse. I don't want anyone else to have to ever go through what I've gone through. And so this is Billy Brown Bear.
Okay, I think that was a good testimony. I don't want to teach kids how to be survivors. I want to be preventative. I want to be proactive. I want to teach them how they can help themselves. And that's why I really like the WHO program. I just want to mention also, I like the WHO program puppets because they're animals. And so it avoids that stereotype. When I was little, I watched cartoons and I would see the bad guys wearing black capes with big handlebar mustaches, which nobody had back then, out in the community. And, that was kind of my image of what a bad guy was or a dangerous stranger was. I had this very stereotypical image of a certain kind of person. And, as we learn when we talked about strangers, people to wear name tags and people were out, I don't go into this, but actually, if they're out to trick you, they're going to look very nice and talk very nice and be very sweet. And so the puppets just kind of keep all of that out of it, but they're good references because the kids remember them. They like them. They connect with them. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I believe on the very last, there's my email if you have questions. And finally, I have the actual website where this program is explained in detail and that story, if anyone else wants to see it. So it's the Mental Health Association of Greater Dallas. That's the official name, Mental Health Association of Greater Dallas. They have lots of great resources. I used to recommend them quite often, not so much now that I'm in Celina, because they're very far from here. They're off on Good Latimer Expressway near downtown Dallas. And it's quite a trip, but they do have good information, and information you could just, click on and read, a lot of links to other articles. So thank you so much for joining in and viewing this presentation, and have a good day.